Mid-July 1518, Frau Trophäa steps out of her home in Strasbourg. Without a single note of music playing, she begins a jerky, spasmodic dance. She moves for hours until she collapses from exhaustion, only to resume her solitary, frantic jig the moment she wakes. By the third day, her shoes are soaked through with blood. This outbreak is recorded across the city's 16th century administrative records, municipal orders, and physician accounts, establishing it as a meticulously documented behavioral anomaly. Frau Trophäa's performance sparked a citywide catastrophe that defied the logic of the era. Within days of Trophäa's first steps, 34 neighbors joined her. By the end of the month, the streets of Strasbourg swelled with nearly 400 people, all twisting and leaping in a manic, involuntary trance. The physical toll was devastating. Dancers pushed their bodies far beyond normal human limits until they succumbed to massive strokes, heart attacks, and sheer physical collapse. At the height of the summer heat, the city recorded up to 15 fatalities every day. This mounting carnage left the city paralyzed. No one could explain the invisible force capable of hijacking the nervous systems of hundreds of ordinary citizens simultaneously. As the body count mounted, the authorities of Strasbourg realized they were trapped inside a lethal epidemic of involuntary movement. Strasbourg's Privy Council eventually turned to the Guild of Physicians. Rejecting the local clergy's claims of demonic possession, the doctors offered a purely biological diagnosis. The dancers were suffering from hot blood. Their prescribed treatment was to let the victims dance the sickness out of their systems. To facilitate this, the city council cleared guild halls and built massive wooden stages in the horse and grain markets, creating a state-sanctioned spectacle. The city even hired professional pipers and drummers to provide a continuous beat, alongside strongmen to prop up the exhausted and keep them moving. This created the conditions for a psychic contagion. The relentless drumming and the visibility of the stages validated the onlookers' deepest fears of a divine curse. As the sensory overload increased, the most suggestible citizens caught the psychological infection. The government's attempt to cure the disease became the mechanism that accelerated it, dragging more citizens into a dissociative trance. Modern investigators point to ergotism, a hallucinogenic mold on damp rye, as the likely biological culprit. However, ergot poisoning causes severe vasoconstriction. It restricts blood flow so severely that it induces agonizing pain and rapid gangrene in the hands and feet. A victim with gangrenous extremities would be physically incapable of high-impact, continuous dancing for weeks. With physiological evidence ruling out ergotism, researchers have shifted their focus away from food poisoning and toward the mechanisms of the human psyche. The prevailing theory, put forward by historian John Waller, identifies the plague as a form of mass psychogenic illness. In 1518, Strasbourg was suffering through relentless famine and the arrival of new diseases like syphilis. Waller argues this extreme psychological distress allowed citizens to enter a trance state as a dissociative reaction to their environment. But another theory suggests the dancing was a sophisticated act of choreographic insurrection. Under this framework, the disenfranchised poor intentionally adopted the mask of madness, using the cultural template of St. Vitus's curse to stage a massive coordinated protest against their conditions. This provided a unique legal loophole. Because the dancers were perceived as being cursed by God, the state and church were legally powerless to execute them for their disruption. This leaves us with two possibilities. Strasbourg witnessed either a total psychological collapse or one of the most desperate acts of political defiance in the medieval world. The epidemic finally broke in early September, when authorities banned all music and carted the remaining victims to a mountain shrine. There, they were given small crosses and red shoes, in a religious ritual that functioned as a successful placebo. The dancing faded, but it left behind a mystery that continues to challenge our understanding of collective behavior. The plague demonstrates the extreme physical manifestations that can occur when a population reaches its psychological breaking point. The events of 1518 stand as a testament to the profound physical toll exacted when a society is pushed beyond its capacity to endure.